Hello friends and welcome to another tutorial here at MK Fingerstyle Academy. My name is Mustafa, and if you're new to this channel is all about fingerstyle content, whether it's tabs, tips, arrangements, or tutorials such as this one. In today's tutorial, we're going to learn Las Hachas by Gaspar Sanz from the baroque guitar instrument / period, and we're going to be learning it on low G / baritone tuned ukulele. This is a grade 1 piece which makes it excellent for beginners, but keep in mind it's not the prep grade which is meant for absolute beginners. In other words, this tutorial assumes that you already know the basics about how to pick, how to sit, how to fret a note, and how to read tabs. If you're not familiar with those absolute basic concepts, make sure to check out my Ukulele Fingerstyle Basics course, which teaches you all of these and then some. But with that out of the way, I highly recommend you pick up your ukulele and learn this piece because right off the bat, in the first 2 bars, we get 4 key essential concepts when it comes to fingerstyle. Let's get started. So Las Hachas starts with a B flat major chord, and you who learn from chord charts would know that that is a bar on the 1st fret, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret on the 4th string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then you would struggle to get this chord. But key concept number 1 when it comes to fingerstyle is that you only need to press what you need to play. So even though it's a B flat major chord, you're not going to be pressing a B flat major chord in its full form, but instead you will look at the tab and press only what you need. And that is the note B flat and F on strings 1 and 2. So that's a partial bar where you get to break your knuckle and be all the way down with your index, which is significantly easier than trying to get all 4 strings with your first finger, and is easier on your strength as well. And then the challenge here with partial bars is that you need to stretch your 3rd finger and control it so that you can get all the way to the 4th string without causing too much muting with the bottom of your 3rd finger. So with that out of the way, we can press the 3rd fret, and now we have strings 1 and 2. So that's concept 1. Only press what you need when it comes to fingerstyle arrangements. Now concept number 2 is when you look at the music notes. You will see that in the first bar, there are 2 layers of music. Layer 1 is the notes with the stems pointing up, and that's your melody, and notes with stems pointing down, and that's your bass. You'll notice that each layer has its own rhythm, and you have to hold the notes to respect their own unique rhythm. In other words, when you play the first chord and you go to the second note, the open C, you don't just let go of everything to play it, and that's what most beginners do. If you do that, you will be cutting the chord short, which if you look at the notes with the stems pointing up, you'll see that they have a half note. In other words, you have to hold them slightly longer than your bass note. Also, we know that the bass note are notes that we play with our thumb. So the melody that happens in the first bar is played entirely with your thumb. So that becomes 3rd finger, open. Notice how I didn't let go of my chord, then the 2nd fret. And now, this is concept number 4, you will use the open note to let go of the chord and position the next chord that comes in the next bar. This is a tip that I teach my students in Ukulele Fingerstyle Basics course all the time. Whenever you see an open note, that is a clue or a sign for you to remove something to set up whatever's coming next. Open notes are your key chance to cheat and set up what's coming next. So the first bar becomes, notice how the chord does not stop ringing. And now we play bar number 2 with an F major chord that hopefully most of you are familiar with at this point. And here we flip the layers. My bass layer is the 2nd fret and open. I have to sustain that bass note for the duration of the bar. And the open is easy to sustain. You just have to make sure you don't mute it by accident. And then the melody comes in the notes F, G, A, B flat, or frets 1, 3, open 1. And here is bonus tip number 5 if you like with fingerstyle. Whenever you play melodies in fingerstyle, you have to make sure you're alternating your right hand fingers to produce legato or well-connected notes. Otherwise, you will sound choppy as you hear pauses every time you approach the string with the same finger. But when you alternate, you don't hear that negative effect and you sound more smooth. So bar number 2 becomes chord, index, middle, index, middle. So the first 2 bars, if you look at the melody, it's actually an ascending scale passage. We start from the B flat, C, natural F, G, A, F. And this scale passage has two chords. As you flip your fingers, it has two chords that interrupt how it sounds like a scale. But it's your job to make sure we hear it as a scale going up while playing those two chords. So that's fourth finger on the third fret, second and third to play frets 2 and 3, open with the bass, thumb. Then you're going to position a D major chord. I'm playing 1 and 2, but you can use 2 and 3 if you want. 1 and 2 makes the trill easier to get. Now for beginners, I highly recommend you don't play the trill, but if you are not a beginner and you want to play the trill, that is simply a hammer-on pull-off from fret 2, the F sharp on the second string, to the G note, fret 3 on the second string with your third finger. And you can do it once, 2 times, or 3 times. And then you have to hit the bass note on time. And then we play that B flat major chord again. Make sure you're using your thumb for the bass note. When I play that last E flat with my third finger, that's when I use the chance to position my F major chord. And for advanced players, you would use your fourth finger on the E flat, which gives you more room to position that F major chord. Notice how I can sustain the chord if I use my fourth finger, but for those who are not familiar with it, this will be a little bit difficult, but I highly recommend you learn how to use your fourth finger early on your journey so you can do things like that. F major chord. Now we're going to alternate our right hand fingers. Now D major chord with my 2 and 3. So I can use my first finger to play the bass without losing the chord. Shift your third finger from the F sharp to the G. You resolve it. So the second phrase is same B flat major chord. Now we're going to sustain the bass note as long as we can as we play those eighth notes, which are like a rapid melodic passage, alternating our right hand fingers as much as we can. And because our third finger is busy on the third fret, we're going to have to use our fourth finger to play the third fret and the melody notes. Remember when I said develop your fourth finger as early as possible? That's because in fingerstyle, there are many instances where your third finger is playing a bass note, so you can't use it to play the third fret on melodies as you are taught on YouTube. So I highly recommend you learn how to use your fourth finger early in your journey so you can sustain your bass notes as you play melody notes. F major chord. Now here we have to let go of everything as we position shift to the fifth fret. Notice how my hand did not change how it looked from first fret to third fret and fifth fret. This is what we call a position shift. So that I can let go of my fifth fret, play the third fret, position shift back to my comfortable position, open G minor chord. Again. And I am alternating my right hand fingers the entire way. In the video, you see me play a lower mordent. That is a pull-off, hammer on to the B flat. Now I'm going to sustain my G minor chord as I use my second and third finger to play the bass melody in the lower register. Using my open note to position everything again. That's my D major chord. We learned how to do that trill earlier in this tutorial. Now we do the last phrase, B flat major chord. Here you're using your third finger and second finger for those bass notes, and thumb all throughout. F major chord, same position shift. I'm using my fourth finger for this third fret, thumb for those lower notes, D major chord, and then third finger or fourth finger to make your final resolution. So again, that's F major chord, position shift, and if you want to take this up a little bit in terms of difficulty but sounds better, is you would hold that third fret, holding that second fret, and then you resolve it. Just holding that second fret for a few more half seconds will make all the difference in making it connect all the way to its resolution. And that's how you play Las Hachas by Gaspar Sanz on the ukulele. This is a great piece for people who are not absolute beginners but are still beginners in fingerstyle, especially if you're able to learn, absorb, and apply the concepts and principles we talked about in this tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Please check out Ukulele Fingerstyle Basics course as it teaches you much more than what we talked about in this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next video.